Here we are, HadesOmega here, going on another demo ride, riding these fine Italian motorcycles. This time it's a Moto Guzzi. I'll be following this guy here. So I went from riding the fastest bike to ride the slowest bike. It should be fun though. So this is the Moto Guzzi V7 Stone. It's it's a standard. A bike. Other bikes that you might want to consider that are like this are like a Triumph Bonneville. Triumph Bonneville would probably be the biggest competitor for this bike. I can't think of anything else. I'm sure, like, the Japanese bikes. Oh shit! I totally stalled it there. So yeah, I'll tell you now, the clutch feels very strange on this. I know, embarrassing, I stalled it. I noticed it feels like you're riding kind of like a Triumph Bonneville. Like the baby Bonneville. But anyway, this is a 750cc, 750 standard Moto Guzzi. And it's a V configuration engine. I don't know if it's a V4, but it's a V something, maybe it's a V2 or something. Yeah, it seems like it's pretty fun to ride. So yeah, I'll already tell you now that the clutch feels really funny on this bike. Man, that bike is so loud. So right now we're doing about 65. I'm in 4th gear right now. 5th gear. There are 6 gears on this bike. It feels like it's a little excessive, but we're doing about 70 right now, and there is no tachometer. I wonder what this mode button does. Oh, okay, the mode changes the data on the tachometer. So this is a lot less complicated bike than the Tuono. I'll tell you that now. The transmission seems nice. Let me see what yeah, this thing looks like it'll cruise all day on the freeway. This guy kind of just snuck in front of me. This definitely, it's a very comfortable bike to ride. The seat is very nice and soft. Whoa. Anyway, so I downshifted and a red hazard light went on, blinking. So I'm guessing I'm over revving it. So I'm thinking the red line is not so high on this bike. After riding the Tuono that has something like a 13,000 red line, this bike does not have 13,000 red line. But yeah, it seems like it's very comfortable to ride on the freeway. It's a very neutral riding position. Yeah. So I think this bike would be great for like a commuter, even like, it's a great all-around motorcycle. Man, this car is like just gonna be in front of us all the time. I'm gonna just like split lanes in front of me. Yeah. Man, that bike is so loud, that dragster. I'd like to take that thing out for a spin. It kind of reminds me of the seating. Yeah, actually it does. It reminds me of an FZ09 a whole lot. I think it's just coolness. I know I really shouldn't be commenting on the bike that I'm riding in front and behind. There's other dudes behind us. The thing is, it's like it's got a straight pipe on it, So yeah, the bike is really comfortable. It's really easy to ride. It's very light, I noticed. The one thing about this bike is the clutch pull. I guess it has a hydraulic clutch or something. It feels very strange. Like well, I wouldn't say strange, but the initial pull, it's kind of like if you ever, it reminds me of a recurve bow, but not a recurve, a compound bow. So a compound bow, when you pull the string back, man, we're not nearly going as fast as before. Anyway, when you pull the string back, it's hard initially. It's hard to pull it initially, and then all of a sudden it'll suddenly oh, the red line. I hit the red line again. It's like, so I guess that oh man, the suspension is a bit stiff on this bike. We're doing about 70 miles an hour right now. Put about gear on them. Yeah, this like gauge cluster isn't very nice. It doesn't give you a lot of information. It's just one of those, yeah, you just ride it type of bike. But anyway, yeah. So the clutch, initially the pull is hard, and then it just gets really soft all of a sudden. It's kind of like a compound bow. That's how it is when you pull the string back. You'll pull it, it'll be heavy, and then suddenly, boom, it'll just be really light, and then you can like hold it. So I don't know. It's just something you got to get used to, I guess. It's very, very comfortable riding position. I like it a whole lot. Not a whole lot of power. You really got to twist it, you know. It looks like it'll cruise all day at 70. These are pretty cool. I'm not sure. I think I'll put the actual price, but I think this comes in around 10,000. Maybe less. Maybe even like 8,000. This is a nice kind of like almost like a baby blue type color. Okay, so I'll talk about the gauge cluster right now since we're just kind of cruising here. So right now I got okay, we'll start from the top. So the top is like your miles per hour, and it goes kilometers on the bottom. And it's an analog gauge. It's kind of like a clock, sort of. It goes from 0 miles per hour at like 8 o'clock to like 130 miles an hour on like almost at 4 o'clock. And then it's got a bunch of Christmas lights. It's got a high beam indicator, a turn signal, a low fuel light, neutral indicator, check engine light, and then the hazard light. So the hazard light, I don't know, I guess it's like a shift indicator or something. And yeah, so it handled that pretty good. It hits the red line pretty easily. It's a lot of, it feels like it's a lot of torque, for a 750. Alright, we'll talk about the gauge cluster more. So there's a, right now, so there's a mode, big, huge, fucking huge mode button on the handlebar here. And yeah, it's a huge mode button on the handlebar on the right, where you use your thumb to activate it, and right now, and it adjusts the different modes that the speedometer is in. So right now on the left, they're showing my gear, what gear I'm in. I'm in like 4th gear. And it's fairly smooth. Anyway, it's that, and I guess a trip meter of some sort. Make a right turn here. It's definitely not a high revving bike. You can't just like let it rev. So yeah, and then what else we got here? Man, it's really hard to find neutral on this bike. It could be because it's like a pretty new bike. Okay, so there's a trip meter and a clock. It says it's 16:55. I don't think it's that time yet. Something about 30 miles per hour. Oh, average. Yeah, that's weird. Oh, it's just that's their average miles per hour. We've been riding 30 miles per hour. I think, you know what? For the tank is designed in such a way like, you know, yeah, whoa, man. Oh man, these roads are really bumpy, man. Tank is designed in such a way that your knees kind of hit it, like when you're cornering, and you can kind of like, you know, nudge it with your knee, and then the bike will like turn over. You know, see? So you can, it's got nice ergonomics. Is all I'm saying. You can push down with your right, with the opposite where you're gonna lean, and then and you just like kind of nudge it with your knee a bit. It's a whole lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to ride this bike. It doesn't have a whole lot of power. I'm really gonna tell you that. It doesn't have a whole lot of power, but it looks like, you know, it's good for cruising. You know, you can just go on the freeway all day. You know, it's 750. It's got a good amount of power. You know. Yeah, just when I twist it, it really doesn't go anywhere, and it doesn't go anywhere too fast. And then I hit the red line like right away, man. So I feel like it's not making the power, you know, that I guess I'm used to, you know. I want more power, type of thing, you know. The mirrors, I can tell you now, the mirrors are not good. Well, I don't think they're adjusted properly. They don't look like they're installed properly. But yeah, I mean, it's a standard bike, but it feels very sporty when you're taking the corners, and you just kind of lean forward. It kind of feels almost like a sport bike, you know. So it's very the ergonomics are very, you know, versatile on this bike. It's a very tame riding bike, but it's a lot of fun, man. Especially on these turns here. It doesn't handle the bumps too well. I'm having to like kind of like stand up, but also you can kind of stand up too. I noticed. Yeah, you can stand up a little bit, you know, if it's bumpy. Kind of an off-camber turn here. This is kind of losing me. I felt the wheel leave the ground. Second there. Brakes. Brakes are all right. I really had to get on it there, but we were going pretty fast. Man, this is a pretty cool bike. I like it a whole lot. You know, I think it's priced very well. I just don't think the suspension is very good at soaking up. And it's very hard to get this in neutral. I don't know why. Yeah, those dudes that are riding behind us are like hella back there. It is very hard to get this bike into neutral. There we go. Okay, so what else? Let's see. There, it gives you your miles per gallon, your average mileage, your average speed, your current miles per gallon, and a temperature, 86 degrees right now, and a clock. And then I don't know what MGCT means. Oh, we're all caught up. This is a fun little bike, you know. I like it a whole lot, you know. It doesn't feel like I don't know. It's not like it's not a super performance oriented bike, you know, but it's a lot of fun to ride. I think, you know, the closest bike that I would pit this against is like the Triumph Bonneville, like the baby Bonneville, the 800. I've ridden one of those before. It feels a lot like this. Yeah, it does feel a lot like this. Except I feel like both of the bikes have like watts of torque, you know. And this bike is just like the Bonneville. It's very bumpy ride, you know. Its suspension doesn't feel as stiff as the Bonneville, but you know, it definitely isn't. It's definitely not a comfy ride around the bumps. I'll tell you that. But you can easily stand up. I would say you could do some light off-road riding with this, you know, if it wasn't for like the horrible like ground clearance and all that kind of stuff, you know. But yeah, it's got a very, it's got a very relaxed riding position, but you can also lean forward, and it feels very, like a very sporty riding position. Oh, the back just stepped out there. It doesn't seem like the back is very planted on this bike. I don't know, maybe it could be the tires, this road, I don't know what it is. This seems to be like not wanting to stay on the ground type of thing. That or I downshifted in the corner, Man, those guys are way back there. Yeah, you can actually stand on it. It's pretty cool. Yeah, that's, you can actually do some kind of like stand-up riding on this. I would highly recommend you stand like on the bumps and stuff, because the bike does not handle the bumps very well. But yeah, it's a very good handling bike. I mean, it's very fun to ride because you can push it, Its limit is very low, And I ain't on a sport bike, but you can ride it sporty. When you ride it sporty, I imagine you can ride it on some dirt roads if you wanted to, because it allows you the ability to stand up, Very, very comfortable to ride, man. I could ride this all day if it wasn't for like, bouncy suspension. I mean, it could be because it's not set up. The suspension is not dialed in for me, Yeah, man. And the throttle is very light on this. Actually, yeah, the throttle has a little jerk to it, That's one of my. It's actually not too bad. It's a little softer than the Bonneville. Man. But anyway, yeah. So one of the annoying things about the Bonneville is it had a very jerky throttle, and this one kind of has it. I'm kind of getting on the throttle a little bit, and it's it's a little bit jerky. But if you're really smooth with the throttle, it's not bad. It's not bad. Plus, it doesn't feel like it's got a whole lot of power, so you're probably just going to be, smashing on it all the time, Woo! Tell me, man, I have a whole lot of fun on this bike. It may be like, the smallest and the least performance-oriented motorcycle in today's demo rides, but I'm having a whole lot of fun on it. You can push it. You can push it. It's comfortable to ride. You can stand up if it's too bumpy. Like it doesn't really handle the bumps too well, like I said. But its ergonomics is very nice. So I have to hand it to Moto Guzzi there. It feels very nice. The foot pegs are they're kind of like a mid controls. They're not. That's why you can stand so well on it. It has like a mid controls, and in fact, it's a little bit forward. I would say it's a little bit on the forward side. It's not like I used to have a Zephyr, and that was a standard, but like the foot pegs were set back a little bit. It's kind of like a naked sport bike type of thing. It's very easy to ride. I would recommend this bike to beginners and people that want a small kind of lightweight bike. The bike isn't that heavy. At least it doesn't feel that heavy. I was pushing it back and forth earlier, and it was very nice. Very easy to push around. So it's good, and I can heel foot this too. So I'm 5'10". Actually, I didn't go over that on the Tuono. I'm 5'10", 175 pounds, and awesome. Where did our dudes go? Oh, they're there. The brakes feel kind of vague. Yeah, the brakes are kind of vague on this. I kind of don't like the brakes a little bit. Yeah, I mean, they're adequate. It's a single disc. It's a pretty big single disc. Single disc, dual piston Brembo. So it's got okay stoppers, but yeah, I'm really digging it. It's a really comfy ride, and you can ride it sporty. Dare I say you can do some light dual sport action with it, just like some very tame dirt roads, because you know, it's like standard control, kind of like a dual sport. It's I mean mid controls. I mean, man, that thing just sounds sick, dude. Right? Just totally drowns out the sound of this bike. Yeah, this bike is also very quiet. I don't know if that's your thing, you know. I would want to get a slightly louder exhaust. But I would like to have some noise. I tell that to the guy that rides an electric motorcycle, right? It's very low to the ground. You know, I'd imagine it vibrates a lot. It vibrates a lot. I noticed when you first start it up, it's all burbly and everything because that V motor. It's very cool, man. What bike? What other bike did I notice that does that? The R9T, the BMW R9T does the same thing. It'll kind of like vibrate a little bit at idle or like low RPMs. It's just kind of cool, but it's totally smooth when you're riding. So once you get it going, it smoothens out, which is very interesting. I have a DR650. That's a thumper, and we're gonna make a left turn now. Yeah, I have a DR650, and it's a thumper, and it's it's fairly smooth in the mid RPM range, and then when you get to the high RPMs, it just starts to vibrate a whole lot, and it's uncomfortable. This one is the opposite. It'll vibrate a lot at low RPM, and then once you get it up there, it smoothens out. So that's kind of interesting. It shakes a lot, shakes and vibrates and gyrates, and it's pretty freaking rad, I'll tell you. It's a nice looking bike too. Yeah, I would definitely, if you were considering a Triumph Bonneville or some kind of bike similar to that, I would definitely look into this bike. So you're going from they're both European bikes. Both European bikes, but this one is from Italy. It's Italian. And the Bonneville is like from the UK. Now there are bigger Bonnevilles. They have bigger motors than the Bonnevilles now. So this would be more for like a beginning rider, I guess. If you didn't want such a big, powerful motor. I'm assuming this gets really good gas mileage. I'll try to put some figure specs in the subtitle below here. Yeah, I'd imagine this probably gets pretty good gas mileage, and it's fuel injected and everything. So those are my thoughts on this bike. It's a lot of fun to ride. It's sporty, and you can ride it sporty, and you can kind of do some off-roadish stuff with it if you wanted. It's not the most comfortable ride, but it could be because the suspension isn't dialed in. The suspension is okay. You're not going to go around like doing no track days in this bike, yeah, I had a whole lot of fun. It's a great beginner's bike too, if you're looking for a new bike, a beginner's bike. Well, let's start it up again. It shakes a whole lot. It shakes a whole lot when you start it. It's kind of cool. Yeah, it's a cool bike. Oh, you know what I noticed? I never scraped the pegs while I was riding it too. Even for how low a bike it is. It's got like feelers and everything here, so I don't think I guess I must not have leaned it enough. Ah, you pussy. It's a fun little bike. Yeah. It's cool. Alright, HadesOmega here. I just wanted to make a remark about the Moto Guzzi V7 Stone that I rode, or just the V7 in general. All the Moto Guzzi bikes have a shaft drive. They're all shaft driven, I think. At least the V7 was. It's a V2, or I guess it's like a parallel twin. Same thing. Piece pipe, crack pipe, same thing, right? And Either they are shaft driven. So that's probably a plus for the Moto Guzzi, I think. Normally you'd think a shaft drive would be on a more expensive bike, but it was the V7 is pretty inexpensively priced. It's good. It's a good beginner bike, and it has a shaft drive, so it would be less maintenance, so which is cool. That's one thing I do like about that. That's one thing I think it might have over the Bonneville, but don't let that discourage you into buying a Bonneville, though. Just because it has a shaft drive, but it is lower maintenance. One of the drawbacks to a shaft drive is you can't change the sprocket ratios, sprocket gearing, but other than that, it's lower maintenance and it lasts longer. Supposedly lasts longer. Yeah, so that's a good thing about the V7. I think over the maybe like a Thruxton or a Bonneville. Also the price I think is in like I think they go anywhere from 7,000 to like 10,000, depending on what model. They have different. There are different model V7s. There was the V7 Stone is the one I rode. That one was just a standard. And there's a number after the V7, so it'll be it's the one I rode was V7 3. That means that's the third generation of that bike, of the V7. So it's been around for a little while. There's a V7 Racer. That's the cafe style one. That would be like your Thruxton, like the what's the word? Triumph. The Triumph equivalent would be a Thruxton. And I think that was it. I think they just had the Racer and the Stone. There might have been another version. There was a Bobber, but the Bobber was the V9. Unfortunately, I didn't get to ride it because they were being dorks. Yeah. So those are some extra comments I have on the V7. I had a lot of fun riding it. Not the most revious engine in the world, but I enjoyed riding it. It's a good all-around bike. I think it's a good beginner bike. If you're looking for if you're a new rider, looking at something to get around with, it's definitely no super performance bike or sport bike, but it'll get you around and you can have a lot of fun on it. Fun is the main theme around on the V7. It's fun to ride,